Let us discuss about a very important property of this lubricant, that is viscosity. Okay. Viscosity is a very important, the most important property of a lubricant. The viscosity of a fluid is defined qualitatively as its resistance to flow. When a liquid is flowing, it offers its own resistance to flow. For example, suppose water is there. Water flows freely compared to oils because water is having very less viscosity, means water offers less resistance to its own flow. Whereas oils, or you take honey or oil, they don't flow easily. Means what does that mean? They offer resistance to their own flow, and that resistance offered by the liquid for its own flow is called as viscosity of that liquid. If viscosity is more, it does not flow easily. If viscosity is less, it flows very easily. For example, petrol is having very less viscosity compared to water, so petrol flows freely than water. Whereas this whatever edible oil which you are using at home, or lubricating oil which you are using in your bikes or cars, it does not flow freely compared to water. Means what? Viscosity of those oils is higher compared to water. Okay. So viscosity is a very important property for any lubricant, because if viscosity is there, if sufficient viscosity is there for any oil, only that oil can be used as a lubricant. Otherwise, that oil cannot be used as a lubricant. So this resistance is primarily due to internal friction. When the fluid is flowing, fluid is flowing in the form of layer like this. See here. When the fluid is flowing here, you can see that fluid will be flowing in the form of layers. Means so many layers will be sliding on each other when the fluid is flowing in this direction. Okay. So here, so many layers are sliding on each other, and when the layers are sliding on each other, you know that it is in the form of shear stress, no? Because you see here that force is acting in this direction, which is parallel to the surface. And when the force is parallel to the surface, we call that force as shear force, and the stress induced is called as shear stress. So shear stress will be acting in the fluid when the fluid is flowing, and this is the velocity distribution in the fluid. For example, suppose this is the stationary plate and this is the moving plate, and when the moving plate is moving, what happens? The liquid in between, that is the lubricating oil present in between these two plates, that is the stationary plate and the moving plate, will also start flowing. And you can see here that the liquid which is in contact with the stationary plate, that layer will not move, but whereas the layer which is in contact with the moving plate will have the same velocity as that of the moving plate. That is why the velocity distribution is like this. See here that at stationary plate the velocity of the fluid is 0, but whereas as the distance goes on increasing, at the moving plate the velocity of the fluid is exactly equal to that of the velocity of the plate. Okay, so the velocity distribution is like this. Linearly it will be increasing, and where h is the thickness of the oil film or distance between the two plates in which the oil is going. Okay? And when these layers are moving, when the fluid is flowing inside, the layers will be moving on one another like this. They will be sliding on each other, and when the layers are sliding on each other, if we call this as the du, that is change in velocity between the two layers of the fluid, and dy is the distance between two layers of the fluid, then du by dy is called as velocity gradient. Du by dy is called as velocity gradient. And here, Sir Isaac Newton first proposed that a force is necessary to shear fluid film To shear this fluid film, a force is necessary. This force is a measure of internal friction of the fluid. That is what we call it as shear force. This force is the measure of internal friction of the fluid. Fluid will also offer the friction. When the fluid is flowing itself, it will offer flow friction or resistance to its own flow. That friction we call it as fluid friction. But fluid friction is very less compared to solid friction. Means what? When two solid bodies are sliding on each other, the friction will be very high. That friction we call it as solid friction. But whereas when the fluids are flowing, it will also offer its own resistance because of its viscosity, but the friction of the fluid is very less compared to that of the solid friction. That is why we are using lubricating oil, so that we are converting solid friction to fluid friction, so that the friction between the two plates reduces and will have less resistance to its own flow. Okay. And this force resembles friction between two solid surfaces. Whatever the force of friction is there, no, it resembles the friction between two solid surfaces. So in the fluid film lubrication, load carrying capacity depends on viscosity of the lubricant. Remember this one. The load carrying capacity, suppose any vertical load is coming, for example, suppose a shaft and bearing is there. Suppose that this is the bearing stationary and this is the shaft which is rotating. When the shaft is rotating, if you convert it to linear velocity, if u is the linear velocity of the shaft, then what happens? The load that is coming on the shaft like this load will be taken up by the viscosity of the lubricating oil. If the viscosity of the lubricating oil is more, then it can take more load of the shaft. Yeah. A lubricant is very low viscosity. With very low viscosity cannot form a layer of fluid film. For example, you take water and you take oil, which will form a thick fluid film on the surface. Definitely oil, no, because oil is having more viscosity, so oil forms a thick fluid film or thick layer of the fluid on the surface, and that layer of the fluid will prevent metal to metal contact between the two surfaces. But whereas suppose I use water, then water is having very less viscosity. Due to that, what happens? Water cannot prevent metal to metal contact between the two plates. Water cannot form continuous oil film. Means what does that mean? A lubricant having very low viscosity cannot form a layer of fluid film between the two sliding surfaces. Whereas if the viscosity of lubricant increases, the frictional resistance and heat generated in the bearing also increases. Means what? The viscosity should not be too high also. If the viscosity is too high, what happens? It offers resistance to its own flow. The resistance to the flow of the fluid will be very high, so that fluid friction will be very high. And when the fluid friction is very high, due to the fluid friction itself, the resistance offered by the fluid itself, there will be generation of the heat in the bearing, and the friction between the two surfaces increases. This happens, suppose when you are changing the oil of the bike, no, and when you change the oil of the bike, you will come to notice that when the oil is fresh, brand new, when you change the oil, at that time bike will be giving little less mileage. But once after some kilometers, for example say 100 km or 200 km, after 200 km, due to the working of that oil loses its viscosity, oil becomes little thinner, and when the oil becomes little thinner, at that time what happens? Your bike will give better mileage. Means what? Force of friction, fluid friction will be lesser when the viscosity is lesser. So what they will do is, initially when we are putting the fresh oil, it will be having little high viscosity, because after workout the viscosity of the oil decreases, and even due to rise in temperature also the viscosity of oil decreases. So in order to compensate that, what they will do, in the beginning they will put little high viscosity oil, so that after workout, when the viscosity decreases, it will be the sufficient to take the load, or it will be sufficient to create a oil film between the two moving surfaces. Okay. So you can see that in the Newton's law of viscosity, let us imagine that there are two parallel plates. This is one plate and this is another plate. Two parallel surfaces are separated by a fluid film. So this is a fluid film. Here the lubricating oil is flowing between these two surfaces, having the thickness h. The thickness of the fluid film is h, or the gap between the two plates is, let us say, h, as shown in the figure. So the force F is applied to the upper surface. You see here that upper surface is the moving force, moving surface. So when you apply a force F, the upper surface will start moving, but whereas lower surface is a fixed one. So lower surface will not move. So when the upper surface starts moving with a constant velocity, say u, capital U. So suppose upper surface is moving with a velocity u with respect to the lower surface, lower stationary plane. Assume that there is no vertical load applied to the surface. Let us assume that there is no any vertical load. This vertical load on this plate. Okay. Let us assume that there is no any vertical load on this plate, and let us assume that the oil is incompressible. The oil present in between these two is incompressible oil, and adhesion between the lubricant and that there is no any vertical load on this moving surface. Okay, and moving plate is applied with a force F, and it is moving with a velocity of, say, capital U. Okay, and when the moving plate is moving with a velocity capital U, and suppose the distance between the two plates is, say, h, which is fluid film thickness. Okay, and when the distance between the two plates is capital H, here what happens? The velocity of the fluid will be directly proportional to this distance h between the two plates. Okay, so here, as the distance of this point goes on increasing with respect to stationary plate, here the velocity also goes on increasing, and velocity will be exactly equal to the velocity of the fluid will be exactly equal to the velocity of that of the moving plate at the surface of the moving plate. See here, the velocity of this layer of the fluid is exactly equal to the velocity of the moving plate, whereas the velocity of this layer of the fluid is exactly equal to the velocity of the stationary plate, which is equal to 0. So here u is equal to 0, and here u is equal to capital U, which is the velocity of the plate, and u goes on increasing like this. If you take the slope of this curve, this velocity curve, you will get this du by dy, which is called as velocity gradient. That du by dy is called as velocity gradient. You take the slope like this. This is du and this is dy. See here, this is du and this is dy, and du by dy is called as the velocity gradient. Okay, so du by dy is called as velocity gradient, and according to Newton's law of viscous flow, it states that for two surfaces separated by a fluid film of thickness h and having relative motion means one plate is stationary and the plate is having motion at a linear velocity, say capital U, the force per unit swept area, that is what we call as shear stress, it's force by upper area of the surface area of the plate is called as shear stress. It will be directly proportional to rate of shear strain or velocity gradient. The velocity gradient is called du by dy in the fluid, and according to Newton's law of viscosity, it states that the shear stress is directly proportional to velocity gradient du by dy. That is, tau is directly proportional to du by dy. So tau is equal to nu into du by dy, where nu is the proportionality constant, which is called as absolute or dynamic viscosity of the lubricating oil. And this nu is expressed in terms of Newton second per meter square in SI unit. That is, its unit is Newton second per meter square. You know that Newton per meter square is Pascal, no? So that is why Newton second per meter square will become Newton per meter square is Pascal, Pascal into second, that is Pascal second. So the SI unit of absolute or dynamic viscosity nu is Pascal second or Newton second per meter square. And in terms of FPS units or in British units, it is expressed in terms of pound second per inch square. That is pound second per inch square, where LB is pound, S is second per inch square. And pound second per inch square is also called as Rayne in FPS system. So 1 Rayne is equal to 1 pound second per inch square, and 1 Pascal second is equal to 1 Newton second per meter square. This is the unit of absolute or dynamic viscosity of a lubricating oil. So according to Newton's law of viscosity, the shear stress is directly proportional to the velocity gradient du by dy, and the constant of proportionality is called nu, which is absolute or dynamic viscosity of that lubricating oil. Hence nu is hence tau is equal to nu into R, where R is called the resistance or the velocity gradient of the lubricating oil, du by dy. Okay. If the velocity is a continuous function of fluid film thickness and there is no slip at the interface between the fluid film and the solid surface, means what? If the velocity is a continuous function, you see here that u is a function of y, no? Or u is a function of h. Y is what? Y is nothing but h, distance h. So u is a function of h, and you know that the velocity of upper layer of the fluid is exactly equal to the velocity of the moving plate, and velocity of lower layer of the fluid is exactly equal to the velocity of the stationary plate. Means what does it mean? Adhesion between this layer and the fluid film and the stationary plate, and adhesion between the fluid film and the moving plate is perfect. Okay. When this is the condition, at that time we can write that du by dy is exactly equal to u by h. See here, if I take this as du and this as dy, so du by dy is the velocity gradient, which is equal to u by h, where h is this distance and u is this distance. So du by dy can be written as u by h, where u is the velocity of the moving plate and h is the fluid film thickness or the distance between the two plates. Thus, above equation reduces to, so tau can be written as nu into u by h. And any fluid which obeys the above Newton's law of viscosity, no? Any fluid which obeys the Newton's law of viscosity, that fluid is called as Newtonian fluid. And for our luckily, for whatever lubricating oil we are using, all the lubricating oils are Newtonian fluid. Means what? They are incompressible fluid and they obey the Newton's law of viscosity. That is, the shear stress in that fluid is directly proportional to the velocity gradient in the fluid. Then we call those fluids as Newtonian fluid. Most of the fluids present or most of the lubricating oil which we are using, they all are Newtonian fluids. Means they all obey the Newton's law of viscosity. And here you can see that 1 Rayne is equal to 68,750 poise, because this also you note down, because in examination sometimes they give the absolute viscosity in terms of poise, and when they give absolute viscosity in terms of poise, you are required to convert it to Rayne and use it, or you are required to convert it to Pascal second and use it. Here in terms of Pascal second, you can convert it to SI unit. So 1 poise is exactly equal to 1 dyne second per centimeter square. Means what? Poise is a unit in CGS system. Centimeter gram second, CGS system. So 1 poise is exactly equal to 1 dyne second per centimeter square, which is equal to 0.1 Pascal second. So you remember this conversion factor. 1 poise is equal to 0.1 Pascal second. This is needed in solving the problem. Okay? And we know that nu is called as absolute viscosity. And you know that what is viscosity? Viscosity is the resistance offered by the fluid for its own flow. And reciprocal of absolute viscosity is called as fluidity. That is 1 by nu is called as fluidity. Fluidity means what? If the fluidity is more, then the fluid can flow easily. Means what? The viscosity is less. It means that if the fluidity is more, then the viscosity is less. Then next one, we know that most of the lubricating oil which we are using all are Newtonian fluids. Then this relation will hold good for all the lubricating oils. That is tau is equal to nu into U by H, where nu is the absolute viscosity of the lubricating oil used, and U is the velocity, linear velocity of the moving plate, and H is the distance between the fixed plate and the moving plate, or the distance, or the fluid film thickness. H is also called as fluid film thickness. Okay. There is one more viscosity called as kinematic viscosity. It is called as kinematic viscosity. Kinematic viscosity is expressed in terms of this nu, whereas this is not nu, this is eta. Okay. Absolute or dynamic viscosity is expressed in terms of eta, whereas kinematic viscosity is expressed in terms of nu. Okay. And kinematic viscosity is defined as the ratio of absolute viscosity to the density of the fluid. So kinematic viscosity is defined as absolute viscosity of the fluid to the density of the fluid. So nu is equal to eta by rho, where rho is the mass density of the fluid and eta is the absolute viscosity of the fluid. So kinematic viscosity is nu by rho, and it is expressed in terms of mm square per second or meter square per second, or in terms of CGS units it is expressed in terms of centi-stroke. And 1 stroke is exactly equal to 1 centimeter square per second, whereas the engineering unit which we are using is mm square per second. SI unit is meter square per second for kinematic viscosity. And in terms of CGS units it is centi-stroke, CST, where 1 stroke is equal to 1 centimeter square per second. This is called as kinematic viscosity of the lubricating oil. Then let us move on to the next topic, that is effect of temperature on viscosity of the lubricating oil. You see here that by observing this graph, you will come to know that here x-axis is temperature in degrees Celsius, 10, 20, 40, 60, 100, 150, 250, like this. It is in terms of degrees Celsius. Whereas the vertical axis, that is the y-axis, is absolute viscosity of the lubricating oil eta, which is expressed in terms of Pascal second. And you observe these curves for different lubricating oil. These are the different grades of the lubricating oil. SAE 10 is one lubricating oil, SAE 20 is another lubricating oil. Similarly, SAE 40 is another lubricating oil, SAE 60 is another lubricating oil. So the lubricating oils are named or graded like this: SAE 10, SAE 20. SAE means what? Society of Automotive Engineers. So this Society of Automotive Engineers, Germany, they have graded the lubricating oil based on its properties. viscosity and density and the property of the lubricating oil, and change in viscosity with respect to temperature. That is also decided with the help of these grades. For example, whatever lubricating oil which you are using in bikes, no, in Bijapur here, that is of the grade SAE 20W40. That is SAE 20W40 means what? SAE 20 is the grade for lubricating oil in summer, and in winter W40 means what? In winter its grade is 40. Okay, like that. And you observe these curves, you will come to know that as the temperature of the lubricating oil goes on increasing, or as the operating temperature in the bearing goes on increasing, the viscosity of lubricating oil goes on decreasing. See here, at lower temperature, that is at 0 degrees Celsius, the viscosity is very high. As the temperature goes on increasing, the viscosity of the lubricating oil drops. It goes on decreasing. Hence, viscosity is inversely proportional to temperature. From this curve, we will come to know that the viscosity of lubricating oil, only of fluids or oils I am telling, viscosity of the lubricating oil or the viscosity of liquid is inversely proportional to the temperature. As temperature goes on increasing, the viscosity of lubricating oil or the viscosity of liquids goes on decreasing. And it is given by this mathematical expression. This whatever this curve is there, no, it is given by this mathematical expression, which is a relation between viscosity and temperature for a liquids, and it is given by nu, where eta, where eta is the absolute viscosity of the lubricating oil, is equal to eta naught, where eta naught is the absolute viscosity of the lubricating oil at the known temperature T naught. Suppose temperature at 0 degrees Celsius is say eta naught, then temperature viscosity at viscosity at 0 degrees Celsius is say eta naught, and then suppose you want to find viscosity at any temperature T, then you can use this expression. So viscosity at any temperature T is given by eta naught exponent of beta into bracket 1 by T minus 1 by T naught, where T is any temperature at which you want to find the viscosity, and where T naught is the temperature 0 degree Celsius, or T naught is the known temperature. At any known temperature, suppose you know the viscosity, you can take, for example, suppose at 20 degrees Celsius, suppose the viscosity is say 2 Pascal second, then T naught is equal to 20 and eta naught is equal to 2. Like this, you can use this expression. Okay. Then, where beta is the called as is a constant which is called as temperature coefficient of viscosity. Beta is called as temperature coefficient of viscosity. So by using this expression, you can find viscosity at any temperature. If viscosity at one temperature is known, then viscosity at any other temperatures can be found by using this expression. Then you see here that for gases, the behavior is completely different. For gases, the behavior is completely different. So in gases, in liquids, what is happening? In liquids, the viscosity goes on decreasing as the temperature goes on increasing. So viscosity of liquids goes on decreasing as the temperature goes on increasing. But whereas the viscosity of gases, you see here that the viscosity of gases goes on increasing as the temperature increases. So the viscosity of liquid is mainly due to intermolecular forces. If the temperature increases in liquids, what happens? If the temperature increases, the liquid starts expanding. You know that as the temperature of the liquid goes on increasing, the volume of the liquid also goes on increasing. That is, the liquid starts expanding and the intermolecular distance also increasing. the distance between the two molecules of the liquid also goes on increasing. That is, the bond length also goes on increasing, and the intermolecular forces decreases. As the distance between two molecules increases, the force between the adhesive, cohesive and adhesive force, the force of attraction between the two molecules goes on decreasing. As the force between two molecules goes on decreasing, then the two molecules can flow freely. Means what? The viscosity of the lubricating oil also goes on decreasing in case of liquids. In case of liquids, as the temperature goes on increasing, the intermolecular forces between the two liquid molecules goes on decreasing. As the intermolecular forces of attraction decreases, the molecules can flow freely. That is, the viscosity of the molecule or the liquid goes on decreasing. Whereas in case of gases, what is happening? In case of gases, at high temperatures, the velocity of gas molecule increases, because gases molecules are freely flowing in the air. And as the temperature increases, there what happens? The velocity of those gas molecules also goes on increasing, resulting in an increase in momentum transfer and hence an increase in viscosity. As the velocity of the molecules goes on increasing, the molecules will hit each other, and when the molecules are randomly moving, they will hit each other and they will rub each other. And when they will rub each other, the viscosity of the gases goes on increasing. That is, as the temperature of the gas goes on increasing, viscosity of the gas also goes on increasing. This is the temperature viscosity curve for air, because air is also a gas, and it holds good for other gases also. For all other gases also, as the temperature goes on increasing, viscosity or absolute viscosity of the gases also goes on increasing. Thus, gases behave reverse to liquids in respect to effect of temperature on viscosity. Okay. This is about viscosity of the lubricating oil. And there is one more parameter called as viscosity index. This is a very important parameter which will decide the applicability of any lubricating oil. Because when you are using any lubricating oil in any engine, definitely the temperature of the engine goes on increasing when you start operating. In the beginning, what happens? When the engine is in cold condition, in standstill condition, at that time the temperature of the engine is lesser. Due to that, the temperature of engine oil is also lesser, hence the viscosity of that engine oil will be higher. But whereas as the temperature of the engine goes on increasing after a long period of use, for example, suppose you run the engine for about 30 kilometer, 40 kilometer or 50 kilometer. After running the engine for 50 kilometer, what happens? The engine will become hot, and as the engine becomes hot, the lubricating oil temperature also increases. And as the lubricating oil temperature increases, you know that viscosity of the oil always decreases as the temperature increases. And viscosity of oil should not decrease too much. If it decreases too much, then it will not be in capacity to form the lubricating oil film between the two moving parts. Hence, viscosity of oil should not change too much with respect to temperature. So you have to choose a lubricating oil whose viscosity index is very high. That is, it's whose viscosity does not change with respect to temperature too much. There should not be change in viscosity of the lubricating oil, drastic change in viscosity of the lubricating oil with respect to change in temperature. No doubt that viscosity decreases, but there should not be too much decrease in the viscosity. Otherwise, those oils cannot be used properly as a lubricating oil. Hence, we can call that the viscosity, the relationship between viscosity and temperature for any mineral oil is expressed based on an arbitrary system of comparison using the viscosity index. So viscosity index is what? It is a measure of relation between viscosity and temperature for any lubricating oil. However, viscosity index relates the change in viscosity of the sample oil at two temperatures. So what they will do is they have chosen two standard temperatures, that is at 38 degrees Celsius and at 100 degree Celsius. And they have used Pennsylvania oil and Gulf oil as the two standard oils and given. So for Pennsylvania oil, the viscosity index is denoted as 100, and for Gulf oil, the viscosity index is denoted as 0, because for Gulf oil, for small change in temperature, there is a very large change in viscosity. So they have denoted 0 as the viscosity index for Gulf oil and 100 as the viscosity index for Pennsylvania oil, because for Pennsylvania oil, for a large change in temperature, there is a very little change in viscosity. Hence, Pennsylvania oil and the Gulf oil or coast oil are used. The method of determining the viscosity index of an oil sample is shown in the figure. So this is the figure how the viscosity is determined. And the viscosity index can be calculated from the relation. See here that suppose I plot the graph for, this is the plot for and this is the plot for Pennsylvania oil. For Pennsylvania oil, we have denoted the viscosity index as 100. Viscosity index does not have any unit. It is just a number. So for Pennsylvania oil, we have denoted it as 100, and for Gulf oil, we have denoted it as 0. Okay, and we'll plot the graph between temperature and kinematic viscosity for those two oils. And then suppose I want to find the viscosity index of any arbitrary oil. It is called as test oil. For any arbitrary oil, again we go on plotting the change in viscosity with respect to temperature. Okay, it is this test oil. Okay, and to find the viscosity index for the test oil, we'll be using this equation. That is, viscosity index is equal to L bar minus X bar by L bar minus H bar into 100, where L bar is the viscosity of the oil at 38 degrees Celsius with Vi is equal to 0. That is, it is the viscosity of Gulf oil at 38 degree Celsius, whereas H bar is the viscosity of Pennsylvania oil at 38 degree Celsius. So L bar is the viscosity of Gulf oil at 38 degrees Celsius. That is, for Gulf oil, we have denoted viscosity index as 0, no? And H bar is the viscosity of Pennsylvania oil at 38 degrees Celsius. That is why Pennsylvania oil is denoted by viscosity index of 100. And this is the test oil. And we'll determine the viscosity of test oil or the sample oil of which we want to determine the viscosity index. This is the viscosity of sample oil at 38 degrees Celsius. So at 38 degrees Celsius, we find out the kinematic viscosity of test oil, then kinematic viscosity of Gulf oil, and kinematic viscosity of Pennsylvania oil, and we'll denote it like this: X bar, L bar, and H bar. And by using this expression, that is L bar minus X bar by L bar minus H bar into 100, we'll get the viscosity index of that test